Namaskar friends, welcome to Khullamkhulla News, Views and Reviews. Today I'm very angry and sad at the same time. Uh, you must have heard about the ban on NDTV Hindi by the Information and Broadcasting Ministry. It was a one-day ban that was supposed to come into effect on the 9th of November, but now it is kept in abeyance. It is believed that Information and Broadcasting Minister Mr. Venkaiah Naidu had a meeting with Pranay Roy and Vikram Chandra, and soon after that the ministry issued a statement that said that the ban has been kept in abeyance. It is not withdrawn totally, but it is kept in abeyance. Now, this ban on NDTV Hindi was imposed because of its coverage of Pathankot terrorist attacks of months back. At that time, there were certain guidelines of the ministry that were in place, and it was believed that NDTV Hindi disregarded those guidelines in its coverage. Those guidelines basically have been designed to protect the national interest and to safeguard our security and to help our anti-terrorist operations. And disregarding those guidelines means that you are compromising our national security. Instead of helping your security forces, you are helping the terrorists. Particularly when you are a TV channel, a news TV channel which is watched all over the world. Particularly in Pakistan, because your TV channel is very popular there. Your journalists are on first name terms with the Pakistani establishment. As per a report published by Open India, it's a very informative website. I think everybody should be going to it, for information time and again, and should be following up, on the news that is put forth there, and read those articles to get enlightened about whatever is happening around us, and to have, the other point of view, which cannot be provided by the left liberal media. So, according to Open India, one of the Open India articles, the ban was imposed by Inter-Ministerial Committee. Now, this Inter-Ministerial Committee deliberated over the whole issue for months and then finally decided to impose a ban of 30 days. Now, this committee has been doing it for other channels also, and those channels have been accepting it. There hasn't been much hue and cry about those decisions. But this decision has become a bone of major contention because NDTV is part of a left liberal establishment. It actually controls the left liberal establishment. So they have used that establishment to create so much of hangama over this. And government knows it. We all know it. We know how Pranay Roy and NDTV management and NDTV journalists, they function. What is their background? What is their ideology, and what is their approach to various issues? And we all know it. That is not a hidden thing. We know what is Pranay Roy's agenda, what is Barkhada's agenda, and what is Ravish's agenda. We know all that. It's not a hidden thing anymore. So this 30-day ban that was recommended by Inter-Ministerial Committee was reduced to a one-day ban on the request of the Information and Broadcasting Minister to the IMC, Inter-Ministerial Committee. Inter-Ministerial Committee actually asked Information and Broadcasting Minister that why do you want this to be reduced to one day? And for that, the minister had probably given an argument that this provision has been included recently, so and it is not very well known, very well advertised, very well communicated to various channels, so we should have the ban for a day. Probably, I think when the Pathankot attack happened, at that time, Arun Jaitley was Information and Broadcasting Minister. And we all know, how close he is to NDTV establishment. But finally, when a decision was taken for a one-day ban, it was taken. It was a done thing. It was not a big deal. Even NDTV probably should not have had any problem with it, except that they had to milk it politically, because NDTV also, NDTV is not just a news channel is a political entity. It has its own politics, and that politics aligns with the left liberal politics of India. So everybody, they came together, they ganged up, and they started criticizing the government. In the last few days, there was so much of criticism, but at the same time, the Bhakts, the nationalists, the Hindu nationalists, they also stood up and they fought against the left liberal propaganda. While all this was happening, suddenly they get to know about the ban order being kept in suspense. And that really infuriated everyone. Everyone who cares for this nation, everyone who cares for this government, everyone who cares for the Prime Minister, everyone who wants this government to perform well, everyone who wants this government to succeed, they all are infuriated today. This kind of spinelessness shown by the Information and Broadcasting Minister, who is Mr. Venkaiah Naidu, who is a failed minister. Whatever ministries he has been handling, he has failed in all those ministries. He is handling Urban Development Ministry. It is total failure. In the last 2.5 years, Urban Development Ministry has done nothing but granting money, formulating budgets, organizing meetings, seminars, training courses, and all kind of stuff, but on ground nothing actually has happened. Nothing has changed. There has been no urban new renewal happening in the last 2.5 years. Meetings. That is the state of the Urban Development Ministry. As a Minister of Parliamentary Affairs, also he was a total failure. What did he manage as the Minister of Parliamentary Affairs? Nothing. So he is an incompetent person. Now he is not only an incompetent person. He was in jail during emergency, and since a lot of people have been blaming the government that government is trying to impose emergency without really realizing what actually emergency was. Those who have gone through emergency, they only know it. So these upstarts in the media who are in, whether they are in working in newspapers or they are working in news channels, they know nothing about emergency. So they loosely use, even someone like Shekhar Gupta loosely uses the term emergency, these idiots. Now he is not supposed to be spineless, Venkaiah Naidu. But again, we forget the fact that the 10 years of Sonia rule actually was possible because of this coterie of BJP. Arun Jaitley, Rajnath Singh, Sushma Swaraj, Venkaiah Naidu. These were the people who were sitting in Delhi, and they did nothing. And they could not even start a movement against a rank corrupt government. And Anna Hazare had to come in and start a street movement. These guys were so incompetent. So now they were incompetent, and now they are acting like cowards. When a decision has been taken, you have already reduced, you have already made a mockery of the ban by reducing it from 30 days to 1 day. You cannot even take a stand on that. NDTV has already decided to go to Supreme Court. You should have fought the case in the Supreme Court because if you thought it was a justified decision. Why was it to be kept in the abeyance? Why did you have to appease Pranoy Roy, Vikram Chandra and Baghadat? Who are they to you? What have they done to you? They have done everything to undermine your government. They have done everything to destroy Modi. They have gone beyond all briefs to damage the reputation of this government. They have colluded with your enemies. They have colluded with the enemies of this nation. They have been doing everything that could undermine not only the nation, not only your government, the nation. And you don't have the guts to stand up to them, these traitors. What kind of a... And then you have this Minister of State in the INB ministry. He's another incompetent. INB ministry is totally incompetent. What has INB ministry done so far? Forget about managing the media. They have not even been able to put forth, effectively the arguments from the government side, against the lies, against the calumny, against the the hit jobs performed by left liberal media, performed by people like Rajdeep Sardesai and Barkha Dutt. And today, after you have taken a decision to have one-day ban, you backtrack like this. You are cowards. You don't have any spine. I mean, we are so angry and upset. What are you, Venkaiah Naidu? Don't you have any guts? And there is this Rathore, Rajyavardhan Singh Rathore. What kind of a Rajput are you? Resign from the job. What are you doing in ministry? In the ministry? Handing out largesse to freeloaders? The same old bureaucratic establishment continues in the Ministry of Information Broadcasting. They are being sustained by you. You are not even taking action against those who are corrupt.